everybody, welcome back to Cavanaugh's Corner. So I got new glasses, I got a new haircut, and it's still the same old me. So everybody, welcome back. Today is Halloween, and today I'm going to be reviewing a movie that's not exactly a Halloween film, but it's a movie that definitely is a thriller, a psychological thriller in many different strange ways, and that is, of course, David Lynch's Lost Highway. This is the new 4K from Criterion. Came out just a couple weeks ago, and this is a whole new release from Criterion here. I'm going to take it out so you can see it. It comes with a booklet here and the two discs. It comes with the 4K and the standard Blu-ray. And this is an all-new 4K digital restoration that was supervised and approved by director David Lynch. And it does have a new a new DTS HD 5.1 soundtrack, and the 4K does come with Dolby Vision and HDR10 and everything. So this is really a big release from Criterion, or at least it was for me. I am a big fan of David Lynch. I really love his films, even though some of them are extraordinarily strange and thought-provoking. I really like his stuff. This is definitely not one of my favorites from him. I do enjoy it. I think it's a very well-made film, and it does provoke a lot of questions. But I do enjoy it. It is kind of a strange, drama, almost a melodrama kind of thing. It has mystery, intrigue. There's a lot of sexual overtones in this, but I do really enjoy it. It's just definitely not one of my favorites of his films, but I am glad to see it join the Criterion Collection, especially on 4K. And really, today I'm going to be talking about the picture quality and the special features and everything on here and how Criterion did. So as I mentioned earlier with the picture quality, this is an all-new 4K digital restoration, and again, David Lynch did supervise it. And I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised with this. Criterion, as always, they either knock it out of the park or it's just kind of subpar. But with this, they really did a great job. It is a big step up from the older Blu-ray. I had the older Blu-ray from Kino Lorber, and that was pretty good. I thought the picture on it was pretty solid, but this is definitely a huge step up. This here, right from the beginning, the black levels are way better on the 4K disc, and that HDR really does a number with the color grading. The color grading may actually end up being kind of controversial with people because it is a little different than maybe what you're used to before. The colors are either a whole hell of a lot cooler or way more vibrant, and it kind of goes back and forth. But in a weird way, that strange color grading actually kind of helps with the mood of the film. And if you've seen this movie, it does have a lot to do with personalities changing and people changing. Not to ruin the movie, but it is definitely an odd film in terms of storytelling. And that color grading being so all over the place kind of gave me a little bit more of a feeling of the story. And I don't really have many complaints about it, but blues in this are much more cooler. Some scenes definitely seem to be a little bit darker than they used to be. The film as a whole, I wouldn't say is darker. It doesn't really have that darker tone. It's definitely not like a Heat situation where the whole movie is like 6 shades darker and grayscale. It's definitely not that. It's most definitely a scene by scene type situation. But the reds are definitely much more warmer now. Sometimes browns are definitely more pronounced than they were before. Whites are way brighter and cooler than they were in previous versions. And again, that's that Dolby Vision doing its job here. They really did a great job remastering this film in a way where it's not extraordinarily different, but it is definitely different in terms of color grading than it was in previous releases. And even going to the Blu-ray that comes with this, you can see the differential, even though it's the same transfer, just without the HDR. And of course, it's in 1080p and not 4K. But no matter which way you go with this, the movie is definitely a lot cleaner looking. Detail level is extraordinarily high with this. It's a big differential from the older Blu-ray, which did look pretty good, but I think this definitely has a lot better depth than before. The 4K definitely gives it that. It's a big step up in terms of depth, and just the overall detail level quality is just really, really good on that 4K. Overall, I'd say the picture is really solid, but I can see how some people may not like it because of the differential in colors and how different it is from time to time. And like I said, it's not a constant thing, but in certain scenes, I'm like, wow, that is really red, or ooh, that's much bluer than it was before. But again, that's David Lynch too, so he did oversee the process, so it had to go through him, and if that's his decision, that's his decision. I didn't have an issue with it. Like I said, I didn't think it was so mind-blowingly different that it was ugly or anything like that, or ruin the movie. I think it actually helps. But again, that's just me. You'll have to decide for yourselves if you pick this up. Your mileage may vary, as they say. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the audio on this guy. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a new 5.1 DTS HD master audio on here, in a 5.1. The 5.1 I thought sounded great. The bass levels on it were really good, because this movie does have some really deep bass tones in it, and I thought that sounded great. The music, as always, sounds great. I didn't have any issues with that. Angelo Badalamenti's score, just beautiful in this. I love his music and everything basically that he's done, and it sounds fantastic on here. Dialogue, crystal clear, no issues with that. I didn't have any issues with leveling. I didn't have to pump the volume up 80 steps like a Disney Blu-ray. Sorry, Disney, it's true. You're still having issues like that from time to time, but I didn't have any issues with it, honestly. I thought it was a great 5.1. They do also include the uncompressed stereo soundtrack if you want to listen to the original stereo. But if you got a 5.1 setup, I would go with that new 5.1. I think it sounds great, and honestly, it really does encompass you in the fear and paranoia of certain scenes. I think they did a really good job with it, and I know David Lynch really prides himself on creating a how can I say, a kind of atmospheric type sound in all of his films, and he did it again with this one here, and it was nice hearing it in 5.1. It's a really good soundtrack. Again, no issues with that. Now, for the special features on this guy, again, like I said, it does come with that booklet. There is a really nice feature-length documentary on this that I've been waiting for it to come out on something for a while, and it's called Pretty as a Picture, The Art of David Lynch from 1997, from when the film was released. And it does have, Lynch and a bunch of other people on it. I mentioned Badalamenti earlier. Barry Gifford's in there. Just a lot of on-set footage from this film, too. But it's really kind of like a little documentary kind of history on him, on Lynch and his films, and just getting a perspective of what his films are looked at from people that he's worked with, and films that he's worked on, I should say. And I really like the documentary. I think it's actually fantastic, and it goes a lot farther than the Art Life does. And I really like it, and it is on the Blu-ray on here, and it is an HD for the first time, as far as I know. I don't think it's ever been on anything in HD, so that's a really good special feature. There's some excerpts of the book called Room to Dream, which I actually own. It's somewhere over here in this disaster zone. But that's a really good book, and there's some excerpts from that in here. And there's some older interviews with Lynch and Patricia Arquette, Bill Pullman, Robert Loggia is also in there. That's a really nice little special feature. And of course, the subtitles and all that good stuff. But again, not a whole hell of a lot of special features, but it is, it's pretty good for what you get in this set. And really, the point of buying it is to see the movie in 4K, and I think it's worth it personally, especially if you're a David Lynch fan. You've got to see this movie. It's such a strange and wild film. It's definitely Lynchian, I would say. It's hard to sum it up, but it's its own thing. I love the atmosphere this movie has. It's so different from almost any other movie. I really enjoy it, and I think you will too, especially if you're a David Lynch fan. Is it a good movie to put on Halloween? Maybe not, but I like the creepy factors of it, and so I decided to review it for you today. Of course, if you want to pick this up on Amazon, I will leave a link in the description below. And if you do use that link, it does help me out here on the channel quite a lot. I do get a little kickback from Amazon. It's much appreciated if you do that. I also appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel below. We've gotten quite a few new subscribers over the last couple weeks, and I really appreciate that. And really, until next time, I wish you guys all the best. Please stay safe and take it easy.